Okay, so we're going to look at the sine rule again. Remember the sine rule, A over sine A equals B over sine B. But this time we are going to look at it for a finding an unknown angle. So we looked at it for finding an unknown side. This is for finding an unknown angle. So the first thing we do is we flip that formula. And the reason why we do this is just so we get the sine A, the angle on the top. I think it just makes it a lot easier to have the unknown here compared to in the denominator. So this is what we're looking for, an unknown angle. So instead of that, we are looking at that. So all I've done there is I've flipped the A and the sine A, and if I flip this side to make it sine A over A, I have to flip the other side to make it sine B over B. Whatever you do to one side of an equation, you have to do to the other. So that's the formula we're going to be using, and let's look at this question. We are looking to find this angle A. So the first thing we do is we flip that formula. So instead of A over sine A equals B over sine B, it really becomes sine A over A. So here we go, sine A, that's what we're looking for, over 15 equals sine 68 over 23. So all I've done there is I've substituted sine A over 15 equals sine 68 over 23. We want to find sine A, so we need to move this 15. So we need to move on this side. We are dividing by 15. So when we take it over, we are going to times by 15. So we get sine A equals sine 68 divided by 23 times 15. Now, here's a question. For this, to get a solution, to get an answer, will we need to press shift? So sometimes when we're doing trig, we have to press shift. Sometimes we don't. The question here is, will we have to press shift? Now remember, whenever we are finding an angle, we have to press shift. Here we are finding an angle. So we don't really want to know what sine A is. We want to know what A is. So we have to press shift. So again, we're going to do this on the calculator and then press shift sine because it's the sine rule. And when you do that, you should get that A equals 37.2. Remember, that is just making sure that you know how to use your calculator. It can be tricky, and the more you use it, the better you will become at using your calculator. It's like any technology. Okay. Let's look at this question. Very, very similar. We've got this is the angle we're looking for. So remember, we always work in opposites. Sine A over A equals sine 35 over 23. So we don't want this form of the formula. We want this form. And all that is, as I said, is just to keep the unknown, what we're looking for, on the top here. The fact that we're actually looking for sine C or the angle C doesn't matter. It's just sine of this over 36 equals sine 35 divided by 23. So we substitute in. What are we going to do? We're going to move this 36. We're dividing on this side. So when we take it across, we do the opposite, which is times. We get sine A equals sine 35 divided by 23 times 36. When we do this step, we should always get a decimal, a 0 point something. It should be less than 1. And that's your key to remember. I have to press shift answer or shift sign. So when we do that, we get A equals 63.9. And again, is that what we would expect? 23 is opposite 35, which is a small angle. 36 is larger than 23, so it should be opposite a larger angle. Remember, the largest side is always opposite the largest angle, the smallest side opposite the smallest angle. So let's have a look at the last example, and I'm not going to do this one for you. I'll leave you with a few questions. Given this, can you find the size of angle X in this triangle? So have a think about that for a little bit. And I guess what I'm asking is, why is this question different to the last ones? Or is it pretty much exactly the same? Now, if you answered 37.4, did you find the right angle? Because this looks a lot bigger than 37.4, but I would think that some of you probably got 37.4. And maybe you've got an extra step that you need to do, because if you got this answer, did you find the right angle? Because you've gone sine A over 18 equals sine 71 over 28. And what you've actually done is found this angle, angle Z, because that looks as though it's 37.4. Okay, so this angle is 37.4, but we don't want that angle. We want this angle. How would we find this angle? Well, we've got an angle, triangle here, and we know the angle sum of a triangle is 180. So the correct answer is 71.6. And I was going to leave you with the question of but why. I guess I've explained it a little bit. So hopefully you understand that's a trickier style of question where you've got an extra step that you have to make. But hopefully you understand using the sine rule to find an angle. Thanks.